Alrighty, good. Hello and welcome to another Amusement Park Pirates live stream. Um, let's see. Okay. So welcome back to another Amusement Park Pirates live stream. Um, Thank you all for joining us today. We got Tonio Tower, welcome in, as well as Buzz Lightyear fan. Good to see you all. Um, So today we have some exciting topics to talk about. But first and foremost, we also have our special guest, theme park conductor. He, our other guest, Tommy Toon World, will be joining us later on this evening. Um, so, any new content on the horizon and any uh, where you can where people can find you.
Absolutely, and it's always great to be on a Amusement Park Pirates live stream. I want to thank you for having me on. It's always a great time, but uh, you can find me Theme Park Conductor on YouTube and Blue Sky at Theme Park Conductor. You can find me on Instagram at theme_park_conductor. You can also find me on X at Theme Conductor. You can find me on TikTok at Theme Park Conductor 1. And you can find me every Sunday at 5 p.m. or sometimes 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for Conductor Sunday live stream, where we talk to amazing guests like Tommy Toon World, Amusement Park Pirates, Orange Go 55, George the Disney Italiano from Hollow Gelato, Jared from Capture the Magic, and so many other guests as we break down Universal news, Disneyland news, Walt Disney World news, the Halloween season, and the up and coming Christmas season. And it's a bunch of fun. It's basically a live stream where I kind of let the chat kind of steer the conversation and ask as many questions as they like. So it's a great time. But again, I want to shout out to Amusement Park Pirates for having me on his live stream once again.
You are welcome, conductor, and don't forget we are Amusement Park Pirates. You can find us here on the tubes, as well as our Instagram, threads, you name it. And actually, tomorrow we will be doing a live stream from downtown Disney and the Disneyland Resort hotels. So hopefully, you guys can join us tomorrow night for an exciting live stream. It's going to be an earlier stream than the normal, so it should be fun. So, first and foremost, in the podcast tonight, let us talk about the recent announcement that came out of nowhere from Disneyland. They are adding Tangled in the storybook canal boats. And this is a post from Scott Gustin saying that a new miniature of Rapunzel's tower from Walt Disney Animation Studios' Tangled is coming to the Storybook Land canal boats at Disneyland Park. So Disney released this concept art here, featuring the Rapunzel's tower, and off in the distance you can see Toad Hall, and it looks like it's going to be near the quilt that you go past as well. They also told She also tells us that the ride is currently closed for refurbishment and will be opening this winter. So that could possibly be the Christmas season that we may possibly see this opening, and you can kind of start of Rapunzel's tower. Disney says several wanted posters. Uh, oops. Let's see. Uh, Disney also says several wanted posters for Flynn Rider will decorate the stone wall with a trail of twinkling lights will lead to a dock featuring a boat inspired by one scene in the film. So that means this is referring to this area right here as well. During the day, guests will hear an arrangement of When Will My Life Begin playing from the tower. Dusk falls and the melody shifts to I See the Light, a nod to the moment in the film when Rapunzel and Flynn watch the lanterns illuminate the night sky. So, Tommy, what are your thoughts? Or, sorry, theme park conductor, any thoughts on this?
So I have to say I love that they're updating this attraction. It's an attraction that's been around for decades, almost since the very beginning of when Disneyland opened. So I'm so happy they're adding new elements to Storybook Land. And one of the things that kind of piques my interest is because if you look at the international parks, I don't remember if it's Tokyo Disney or it's Japan Disney. Um what do you call it? Or not Japan Disney. You got Tokyo Disney and then what's the other Asian Disney park? I forgot. Oh, hey Tommy, there he is.
Hey, Tommy.
What's up? What's up, fellas? Thanks for having me on. Yeah, what's up, Justin? How are you?
Good. How about yourself?
Pretty good, man. I'm glad and happy to be here, man. Yeah, I always appreciate you having me on. So sorry to interrupt. Conductor, man, what's up, dude? It's good to see you.
Hey, what's up? No, but real quick before Tommy introduces where he can find himself on social media is this Tangled thing, our element that's going to be permanent. I can only assume for Storybook Landing. It kind of piques my interest to the point because they have an attraction based off Tangled in the international parks and the Asian Disney parks, and it makes me wonder with Disneyland Forward, could we see a Tangled attraction come to the Disneyland Resort in the future? And this is kind of like a nod to that. So that's what I'm kind of wondering. So I'm super excited to see this element on Storybook Land, and I'm definitely going to ride this attraction to see that up close.
Yeah. So, Tommy, welcome in. Please feel free to tell us where they can find you and any new content to check out before we continue.
Yes, great, of course, man. Yeah, I appreciate you again. Amusement Park Pirates, man. Podcast is fire. Keep putting up the work. And then Conductor, it's always good doing a live stream with you, buddy. Yeah, so yeah, you can find me at Tommy Toon World on YouTube and on Instagram, Tommy Toon _. And I caved in. I went to TikTok, so you can find me on TikTok at Tommy Toon _world. And I have a lot of Halloween content on there, from Disney to Universal. I'm actually even getting some other content up there. I went to the Winchester Mystery House. So that's all, looking forward to it. And then hopefully I can start getting some live streams going. But yeah, I appreciate it, man.
Mm-hmm. So, Tommy, what are your thoughts on this upcoming new segment in the Storybook Canal Boats, the Tangled edition?
Yeah, bro. So I love this ride at nighttime. First of all, I can't wait to see what it looks like all lit up and at night. Um, I came in late, so I'm not sure if you guys were saying what exact segment it is or if it's following a certain other movie or what. But I can't wait to see what it looks like, and I always think it's so detailed how they handle everything. That movie's pretty good too. It's I don't know if it's slept on or what, and I don't know if there's much representation of it, but I know Conductor was speaking on a little bit of it. But yeah, this looks really cool. I don't normally go on this ride. Like, it's not my first thing to do, but like I said, I do like to unwind at night on this. So I can't wait to see this during the daytime and the nighttime.
Yeah, I kind of feel like with this attraction, and there's obviously several other attractions throughout the resort, you get two type of experiences, one during the day and then one at night, and they're completely separate. When you do this type of attraction that has an outdoor portion, or in this case all of it is mainly outdoors, you get two different perspectives. So I can't wait to see this at night. So I think, following what Tommy said, I think I'm going to probably ride this attraction both during the day and night to kind of get both sides of the feeling of the new updates for this attraction that they are currently updating.
I'm going to have to agree with you on that. We're going to have to try to write it, like, not just during the day, but also at night as well, to get that easy transition as well. And there will be many moments that we might be streaming that ride as well. So, exciting stuff. But what is not exciting that I wanted to talk to you guys about is what happened just recently, like yesterday. So from across all the parks in the US, not just at Walt Disney World and Disneyland themselves, we have just received a very disappointing decision made by Disney themselves to go ahead and raise their prices on ticket sales, parking, and annual passes. They have also released a 2026 ticket deal as well, according to Disney themselves, that I want to touch upon and read upon. And then we'll kind of decipher, our frustrations with,
Sure.
and compare and contrast as well. So it says, this 2026 Disneyland California resident 3-day park hopper or ticket deal. So basically, every year they do this, and this next year is going to be a little bit more pricier. So it says, get ready, Golden State residents. The Disneyland Resort is announcing a doozy of a deal planned just for you to make memories with family and friends at an incredible value. Coming soon for a limited time, California residents can visit both Disneyland Park and Disney California Adventure Park with a 3-day park hopper ticket for as little as $83 per person per day, for a total price of $249, or as low as $117 per person per day, including a Lightning Lane multi-pass for a total cost of $351. This California resident ticket offer will go on sale on December 3rd, 2025, in time for the gift-giving season. For visits January 1st through May 21st, 2026. From winter to spring, these tickets have the flexibility to be used for a consecutive 3-day vacation or can be redeemed on separate days throughout the offer period, subject to park reservation availability. Um, and then it goes on to say continuing of the 70th and all that so forth. So, what are your guys' thoughts on this?
Tommy, I'm going to let you go. Let you go first.
About the ticket deal.
Yes, because he was actually looking at that. Me and him were talking earlier today about that, so I'm going to let him handle that question.
Well, thanks, fellas. Yeah, sure. So, you know what? I'm glad you started with the good news. So, basically, this deal's for me, unfortunately, is probably the best deal. So, I live in California, but I'm not a local. So, that's a tough part. And I don't buy an annual pass because of that reason, or which I would. So, this deal right here, the California resident 3-day park hopper, floats my boat because now I can come down there for Lunar New Year next year and food and wine. This deal is running until May, like you said. So it's a 5-month deal. I would love it to run all year. I know there's certain aspects of this that, you know, is give or take. Like, oh, it's softening the blow to the price hikes. It's doing this and this to the locals and stuff. And I get it. But for me, I got excited for this. And I'm sure other people are pumped because I do go to Disneyland at least 4 to 6 times a year, which I should get an annual pass. But this helps me out tremendously. You could split the 3 days up. So I may do 2 at Lunar New Year and then save the other one a couple months and come back for food and wine. And Park Hopper is legit, right? We're getting Park Hopper with it. That's another usually $40 to $80, right? I don't know. Like, I know you guys all have passes, so you guys don't really have to stress on the tier system, right? Yeah. So to me, this is right up my alley, and I was hoping I got the holiday deal that everybody was talking about a couple months ago, but I guess they only sent those out to like pass holders that didn't renew, just to kind of reel them back in. Yeah, I don't know if that's what you guys heard, but yeah, what do you think, Conductor?
So, actually, I have a chart, and I just brought it up, and thanks again, Amusement Park Pirates, for bringing it up. This is from Theme Park IQ. So when you're talking about the park hopper, let's start with that. The old price was actually $65 to $75, but now with the new price, it is now $70 to $90 a ticket, which is a 7.4 to 18% markup increase. So when we're looking at just the ticket systems, not even the magic keys, but just the ticket systems. So tier 0, because I was on Hollow Gelato last night, and I have the full live stream on my channel at Theme Park Conductor, but we were talking about this. Tier 0 is basically 1 day out of the year where they have it as low as 104. So that's why that didn't change. So from tier 1 to tier 6, that's where you start seeing price increases. And tier 1, it's only like a $3 change, and then it keeps going up from there. But the more busier days is like tier 6, and you can clearly see where it's the old price was 206 to 224. So that's a big jump in price. But I want to ask Amusement Park Pirates first before I ask you, Tommy. You know, besides the ticket system, where it's the tier 0 through tier 6 and then park hopper, what do you think about the past increases, Amusement Park Pirates? Do you think, you know, what they show right now, which is currently in effect because it's already in effect, do you think the price increases on the Magic Keys is justified for as high as it is?
Well, that is kind of a great question to ask. Um, but first, I want to welcome in Foxglove Fairy. Welcome to the stream. She says, "Hey, lovelies. Hi, pirates. Hello. Good to see you, Foxglove Fairy. Welcome in." So I just want to bring this up
Sure.
like a little bit clearer. Where is it? Here it is.
Oh, there we go.
This is a lot clearer
Sure.
for pretty much for those on the stream. So, in answer to your question, Magic Keys. I mean, besides our benefits, right? Free parking. There has been some times that, like those tote bags, we get tote bags and, cool pins and buttons and for all these events and all
Sure.
that so forth. As far as like Magic Keys are concerned, they don't care, to be honest.
Yeah.
In a good way, but also in a way, it kind of a bad way.
It,
If you guys know what I'm talking about.
yeah.
It's and plus like as far as like for Christmas season, like coming up soon, like December 21st, I mean, we're going to be blocked out and we're going to have to pay these prices if we want to go to the parks during, Christmas week, New Year's week. Um, so, in answer to your question, um, that's actually a really good question, pretty much.
Yeah, because it begs the question, and this is a question I actually asked George on his channel last night. I said, with as high, so if you look at Inspire, because that's what I have. I have the Inspire. It jumped up $150. So I asked him straight up. I said, "Are between the Inspire and the Believe key, is it justified to increase prices that high for that?" And he actually responded, and I thought it was a brilliant comment that he made. He said, "Well, the thing is, they're building the two Avengers attractions right now, Infinity Defense, and you got Stark Flight Labs, which was basically a bonus attraction that we weren't even planning on getting, but we got it. And then they're supposed to be starting at some point from now to early 2026. They're supposed to be starting construction on the Coco Dark ride that's supposed to go behind a credit coaster. And one of the things that George was saying was, I don't think the price is going this high. Not that the prices increased, but the prices that jumped up this high. He said basically it's not justified to go this high unless we have at least the two Avengers attractions opened. So basically they're increasing prices across the board. And what has Disney offered that's brand smacking new that entices people to pay these prices. Really, in a way, maybe a couple new shops, maybe some decor changes to downtown Disney. Um, and then they built the new DVC tower in the hotel area, and then they've done some little minor updates here and there, but based off new attractions, there is no new attractions yet. So to jump the price this high, I don't personally, I agree with George, it's not justified. Now, if those two attractions were opened, then it's justified. Right now, it's not justified. Tommy, what do you think?
I think that they'll try to justify another price hike when the rides are ready. But
Yeah.
Just for this one, because this was the news, Justin kind of mentioned it in the beginning of the stream that, they kind of do this a lot. You know what I mean? Disney likes to do the price hikes and then kind of throw you in something else that kind of sugarcoats it. Well, the California deal doesn't really sugarcoat the annual passes. And, I understand inflation, but they keep upping them. And of course, shout out OG. He always says, vote with your wallet, right? It sucks being a Disney adult or Disney fan because you're always going to go. And it's hard to cancel your pass. Lately, I've been seeing a lot of people say that they're going to cancel their annual pass. The magic isn't there as much anymore. A lot of stuff's repetitive, i.e. Oogie Boogie. It was my first Oogie Boogie this year. I loved it, but, I couldn't compare it. But, I heard that it's basically the same. So this price hike, like you said, $150 for the highest on Inspire. This is pretty big not to get an amenity with it. Disney likes to roll out stuff during the year, and people don't take account that Inspire doesn't have that many blockout dates. But, Disneyland could retract some things and go back to like how they did it before the 2020 stuff. Because, in my opinion, I would eliminate reservations, which I know that would go crazy and people would freak out. But if not that, maybe eliminate blockout dates for annual pass holders, at least for a year. Test the data. I don't understand what they don't want all the locals hogging up, all the space, I guess. But Disneyland, Disneyland is the locals. That's what we are. And I know I don't live there, but I live in California. So not to stretch this out just because you asked me the question, but, no reservations, no blockout dates for sure. And then maybe like a magic key holder event. Maybe that would entice me to buy a key, like Justin said too, you get free magnets or free pins or free bags and stuff. Imagine giving away all that stuff at an event like how Universal does for their annual pass holders,
Well, okay, so I want to add something to this before you resume Amusement Park Pirates. Two big things I can see that would definitely entice people to at least try to get the Inspire is, so with discounts on merch and food, we're at 15% right now. If they increase that to 20%, that's the first thing they could do. The second thing,
that would be cool.
The second thing, kind of like what Universal does for their annual pass holders, you can get one free HHN night. What if Disney offered one free Oogie Boogie night?
Or an after dark event. Right.
So
I mean, we're all like game planning right here. That's perfect, bro.
Yeah, so it could be Oogie Boogie, it could be Star Wars night, it could be Sweethearts night. So you get, well, maybe with the Inspire to kind of entice people more, maybe you can get based off how many night after dark events they have, maybe you could get maybe 2 or 3 of them a year for the price you're paying for the magic key. and then that 20% off merch and food would entice people. And you can kind of justify that also with the other keys as well to kind of get people to buy in. So
Yeah, and adding to basically what you guys mentioned, basically like the only Disney theme park that I pretty much know that has an annual pass event. Shout out to Murray's Adventures. He streams at Disneyland Paris. Um, Disneyland Paris has their annual pass event, and to be honest, it is probably insane. Like, think of FanFest nights, how that went through. If we had a Magic Key After Dark event, it would be off the charts.
definitely.
Like what Tommy was saying, like, you know, that would entice people to get a Magic Key. Plus, I would delete all reservations. Like, honestly,
Annex them.
it's been so long since we've had this reservation system, and I'm actually looking at the reservation calendar right now, and to be honest, all of the Fridays as of 8:44 this evening, all Fridays are blocked for the month of October.
Which I'm not 100% surprised by that, Pirates, is because one of the things that George brought up also last night, which I was telling Tommy earlier today, was that the at least the Disneyland Resort, they're trying to entice tourists from out of state, out of country to come visit the Disneyland Resort. So by doing these price hikes, they're trying to get the locals to not renew their Magic Keys, to not buy tickets to go to Disneyland every other day or every single week or multiple times a month, and try to attract that tourist guest ratio to the resort. Because one of the things we talked about, and George told me um, a little while ago to celebrate his birthday, we stayed at a vacation rental literally down the street from Disneyland, and where we stayed at, down the road a little bit was the Toy Story parking lot. And so many people have hinted at that possibly being the third gate. And if that's the third gate, then they're what they're essentially trying to do, they're trying to be like Walt Disney World. So when we see these reservations, like you're saying, Pirates, about basically all the Fridays are gone, probably all the Saturdays or Sundays are going to be gone very soon, it does not surprise me one bit. It really honestly doesn't. So uh, again, but Tommy made a great point when we were talking earlier. He's all like, this doesn't just affect locals. This affects people, even the tourists coming out of state to come and visit the park, because now they're being introduced to these price hikes. So unless Disney has a counterway or a counterbalance to offer that family of four from Minnesota or whatever to come and stay at the Disneyland Resort and go experience the parks between Disneyland and DCA, they're going to be thrown right into the mix, just like all of us locals with the price hikes. So
yeah, and just to add on to that, I kind of looked up the prices when Justin was talking. Man, December is looking ugly. Like, if I would want to buy a ticket because I'm not an annual pass holder, or if you're out of state, imagine you're coming in, you're a tourist, man. So not park hopper, one park for the day, for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day is $224. And to be honest, it's all week. All
Wow.
7 days are like that. And that even goes into New Year's. It's for like 10, 11 days. Then you go to Park Hopper and it's an extra $90 this time. So it's $314 a day.
And that's not including, Tommy. Okay. That's not including the parking, which went up $5. So now you're paying 40. And then on top of that, if you want to do Lightning Lane, and let's say you want to do Lightning Lane for all four of your family members, you're talking about another $200-300 on top of that for one day.
And then all the Disney food and all the merch you buy and everything. Yeah. It's tough. It's tough. Disneyland's getting more and more priced out that people just go to Disney World.
Yeah. Well, it's real interesting because one of the things I found out from a fellow content creator, he has a friend that works for a travel agency, and I can't say what the name is, but the travel agency told him basically for Orlando statistics, because Walt Disney World, the Magic Kingdom, actually increased their prices as well. Like Amusement Park Pirates said right at the beginning of the live stream, this affects all the parks. Basically, the travel agency was telling him that more and more people are not booking Disney vacations and they are booking Universal vacations because it is a lot cheaper and there's more to offer that better fits that family of four than what the Walt Disney World and even the Disneyland Resort is offering at the current moment.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I missed that. Yeah, or I wasn't locked in. Yeah, my apologies. But
No,
yeah,
no.
I could see that. Universal's fire too. It's just, it's hard to beat Disney. That's the thing.
It's true. It's true when you look at a comparison between the kind of one fantasy theme park here and another one with IPs. Obviously, Disney's going to win that battle 9 out of 10 times. But when people kind of look at the vacation, the biggest thing they look at is cost. And right now, it just seems like Universal is beating them on cost. And that's what the family of four looks at.
I agree totally with you. Yeah, 100%.
For sure. We also have Leo Garcia. Just want to welcome in. Just want to pull up this content here. It's time to go to Japan for Disney. A lot cheaper.
Yeah,
That's true as well.
And shout out to me and Tommy's friend Jason Hill. He's told us numerous of times when we've hung out with them at Disneyland that Disney Tokyo Disney is a lot cheaper, and they have between was it Disney Sea and it just all the offerings they offer at that park. It's wild. It's nothing you've ever seen before. It's crazy. So I would 100% agree with Leo for sure.
For sure. Before we continue, just want to throw this out there. What do you guys think of the new closure? This has not been on our agenda, but what do you guys think of the new closure? Instead of the 12 o'clock, it's now 11.
For Disneyland? For park hours? Or is it DCA?
Both. Park hours for both Disneyland and DCA.
So, okay, so Disneyland
at 9.
So
and Disneyland at 11.
So Disneyland, I'm actually kind of shocked on that. I kind of honestly thought that Disneyland would close around midnight, maybe 1 o'clock in the morning, especially with the holidays um, here now. I'm actually kind of shocked by that. Now, DCA, on the other hand, that's one thing that is a concern to me, is because 11 o'clock seems later than what I thought. I thought personally they're going to start probably closing the park at 6 o'clock, maybe 7 o'clock tops, due to all the construction that's happening. Because right now, like I said, you got the two Avengers attractions being built, which it's behind a construction wall and it's not interfering with guests or whatnot. But you have that I'm going to quote George, that walking path between Avengers Campus and Cars Land that's blocked off, and they're trying to build restrooms and I'm sure some other stuff. And then you're going to have on Hollywood Studios area, the Hollywood backlot, you're going to have that all ripped apart because of Avatar going in, and then the bus unload and load area is going to be pretty much walled off. So you got that. Then you got on the other side where you have Incredicoaster, you also have the new Encanto attraction going in, and construction is going to be very, very, very heavy at DCA for the next couple years. So it makes me wonder when they start actually doing heavy construction for DCA. My questions are: do they lower the price? Which I don't think they will, but do they lower the price because they're turning that park into almost like a half day park now, with the hours cut by 5-6 hours? And what type of construction could we see at Disneyland? Because Disneyland, you know, I'm sure eventually, probably not in the next couple years, but eventually they're going to wall off Tomorrowland. That's going to go through massive demo. Then you got Critter Country or Bayou Country. And if you go in there and you go next to Pooh's Corner where the store is and all that, right to the left you have kind of like a backstage area, but it's almost like a gate where they can build another sky bridge like they're doing between the Eastern Gateway project to the Esplanade over harbor. But on the other side, going to the Lilo and Stitch parking lot, and that could be another land. It could be the world of Frozen with Arendelle. It could be Zootopia. It could be the possibilities are endless. But that parking lot has been already zoned for theme park expansion. So it's more of DCA going under mass construction. So I don't know why Disneyland would reduce hours. I would honestly think DCA would be the one reducing a lot of hours, in my personal opinion.
Oh yeah, well said, Conductor. I'm gonna go a little bit a different route with this question. So, first of all, I feel like Disney does this every holiday season. I could be wrong. And Justin, you're a Disney, fan to the max, so I'm sure you know. But just bouncing off, like I feel like they do this because it's the time change in California. It's the holidays. It could be raining. Yeah, they don't care if it's raining, but I feel like an hour trimmed off a Disney doesn't sound like much, but you could feel it because you get the paint the night parade or whatever parade we get, or before the fireworks. Then we get the fireworks no matter what, and then you're like, oh well, now I only got like an hour left because it ends at 10, right? Maybe if they do the parade earlier and fireworks earlier now that this happens. But to me, I always like staying to the end, man. And even going to World of Disney at like 12:45, like before it closes, at like 1 or 2. Like I like going downtown Disney. I like being there as long as I can. I've been seeing a lot of streamers kind of frustrated about it because I think maybe they knock out a lot of rides in those last hours of the chunk, right? It's pretty it's a pretty good chunk where bigger families and maybe people that are getting tired out, they go home after the fireworks. So then other people can knock out rides quicker. So the only thing is they're trimming off the ride at like time and like more time to eat and stuff, but then they're charging more. It's just rough, but I think it's just for the holidays. I think come spring or even hopefully before Lunar New Year and stuff, they bring that extra hour back.
Yeah, or this could just be my theory. Um, Cast members. What if they are reducing, you know, cutting people out because of their jobs? That's probably the reasoning why. Um, you know, not just, the theories that you guys mentioned, but it could also be, you know, job losses and other people just don't want to work that late, pretty much. That's just my theory. Because as a streamer, um, I love the power hour. You know, we used to go on Fantasyland attractions or whatever attractions at like 11:30, 11 at night. And we normally end with the sleeper train at like 12 midnight and get off at like 12:30 and would be home at like around 1 a.m., 2 a.m. at most. But now it's like paint the night is at 10:30. Then 30 minutes later is park closing. And then you gotta rush to a station after the paint the night ends to get on the sleeper train, and it's like 11:30 at night, and it's like 30 minutes to midnight.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So one of the things I could see also with all this construction going on and the new experiences they're building between, the two Avengers attractions, you got Coco, you got the Sky Bridge that's going over harbor into the Esplanade. You have the Eastern Gateway parking garage, which I think it's supposed to be like 7 stories tall. I think maybe even taller than that. And then just all the updates they're doing in downtown Disney and whatnot. Maybe that's why they're reducing. But I like what Tommy said about the time change. It could be that. I also agree with Amusement Park Pirates. It could also be that they're trying to reduce hours for cast members. It could be that, because I know one thing for sure. Entertainment, at least on the DCA side, has reduced dramatically. And I mean, referring to Avengers Campus. You still have some characters, don't get me wrong, but you don't have as much as you used to have. So, and I'm starting to see that at Disneyland a little bit here and there. There are some characters like that used to roam around in Fantasyland and Critter Country and New Orleans Square that I'm not seeing as much anymore. So I'm starting to notice cutbacks. So I don't know if it's just due to all the updates they're trying to do to the resort, but the fact that we're seeing the price increases on how high they're increased, and then like what you two gentlemen said, it could be a factor of all this. Because I know for a fact that Universal is, Disney's always going to be on top, but Universal is the up and coming, company for theme parks. with Epic Universe, with the UK park they're starting to build. Then you got the Texas Kids Park that's almost done. That's going to open sometime next year, early next year. And then with the experiences they have with the Horrors Unleashed that me and Tommy were very lucky to go to opening weekend. Then you got the Chicago one that they're going to build, and a good friend of mine and even Tommy's, Orange Grove 55, told me and Tommy at one point that he heard from a friend that Universal's going to really start looking into, if they haven't already, into the cruise line business. And you can only imagine the type of IP based cruise lines they can acquire. Imagine going on a cruise ship and it's Super Nintendo World, or going on a cruise ship and it's like a HHN theme, or going on a cruise ship and it's all Harry Potter based, or the sky's the limit. So the fact that they're even looking into that, Disney's looking at that, and that's why they're investing so much into their parks. And it's a great thing for us content creators and just people that love the parks in general. But again, a lot of this just factors into what they're doing on reducing hours, construction costs, new experiences they're building, price increases across the board. It could explain a lot, because like I said, Universal's starting to become a threat. Even though Disney's always going to be the top dog, Universal's starting to become a threat. And Disney's looking at that very hard.
Absolutely agree. We have another person that's joined. We got MH Reels. Welcome in, MH Reels. Good to see you again. Leo Garcia says, what happens to Oogie Boogie Halloween Bash for next year with all this construction? Does it move back to Disneyland? Now, I believe Theme Park Conductor and I have talked about this last podcast, speculating if Oogie Boogie Bash will move to Disneyland, or the fan favorite Mickey's Halloween Party will officially return to Disneyland next year. And so I think we should probably give Tommy Toon a chance to give his thoughts on what might happen next year with Oogie Boogie Bash.
Yeah, man, I'm glad I grabbed the ticket for Oogie Boogie, because I kind of had a feeling too, with all this going on, that this possibly could be the last one. It could be put on hiatus, at least for some years, until we get Avatar going, and all those locations with Avengers and, like you say, Coco, Conductor. Yeah, if it's Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween, I'll take it. I'm not sure if that's the name of it or if that's just the one in Walt Disney World, but I love the After Dark events at Disneyland. I think the only After Dark event at DCA is Oogie Boogie, right? It is fun there. I mean, it is a good time, and the vibe is totally different, but there's nothing like being at the Disneyland park. You know what I mean? And, I did Star Wars night there. 90s night looked really fun. So does, all those, was it Disney Channel night? Those all looked really fun. And, of course, I'll go to an After Dark event again next year. And, of course, I will go to Mickey's Halloween Party if that's available. When they announce that is going to be crazy. And then we'll have to pay more money for that, right? Because annual pass holders don't get a free day.
Yep. It's going to be like sold out immediately when they announce tickets. Like,
yeah,
when you log into the reservation calendar or the calendar to purchase tickets, sold out.
Yeah,
for 2026.
I believe it. And again, I think, because people were demanding, and again, Amusement Park Pirates said it best. We talked about it on his last live stream that I was part of. But again, due to all the construction happening at DCA with the new attractions and whatnot, and the fact that they might even close that park as early as 6 p.m. to accommodate the construction. I know when they had the last year of Mickey's Halloween party, and they announced that it was going over to DCA and being renamed Oogie Boogie Bash. A lot of people were upset about that. So if it did make a return to Disneyland, I think, like you both said, a lot of people would get super excited about that. It would be a great thing for Disneyland to have that. So I would like to see that happen to just accommodate what's going on with DCA, which I would feel okay about. But then, you know, you have to look at it too. If they're doing that, then Disneyland is going to have reduced hours for just the day guests. So instead of staying open until 11 o'clock at night or even midnight, they might only stay open on select nights for the Halloween event. They might only stay open until 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and then close the park down, empty out the park, and then start letting the people in for the Halloween party. So that can have a double-edged sword as well. So it's really how they plan it out is going to be the question.
They do that anyways with all the other After Dark events. I mean, Sweethearts, Star Wars.
Oh,
But the
yeah.
thing with Halloween is it's the moneymaker, you know. Yeah, holidays.
Yeah. We got Disney with Matthew saying hi, APP. Welcome in, Matthew. Good to see you. Buzz Lightyear fan says, will the electrical parade come back? If so, when? Buzz, as much as I would pretty much say this, but it might be a summer 2027 thing. Because we still have Paint the Night still happening pretty much, through the rest of the Halloween season, and then cut short because of the Christmas parade, and then hopefully it comes back next year. So my guess would probably be a summer 2027. What do you guys think for Main Street Electrical Parade?
So I'm going to say it's a possible. It could come back next year because that parade only takes place in Disneyland. It doesn't take place in DCA. So it is a great possibility we could see it return in the spring, if not early summer. But I don't know if Walt Disney World, the Magic Kingdom, I don't know if they have their own version out there. I know there was speculation um, when we had our final days of the Main Street Electrical Parade out here for the 2025 season, that someone was saying online that it was going to be temporarily transferred to the Magic Kingdom out in Florida. So I don't know if that's still a thing, if they're still looking at that, but in retrospect, I think if that's not the case, I think we are going to see it in mid to late spring, if not early summer next year. Because, like I said, it takes place in Disneyland and not DCA, where all the heavy construction is going to be at. And we've all reported it that Disney actually bought a warehouse a couple miles away, and it's a massive warehouse to store a lot of these parade vehicles and just props and costumes and whatnot to kind of get rid of the backstage areas and warehouses on property for future theme park expansion. So it's a possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, well said. I was just thinking maybe I'm not 100% sure how long the 70th runs. And I'm not sure if Paint the Night runs just with the 70th celebration too, or if they'll transition that out before the 70th is over. But hey, sky's the limit. You never know what Disney will do. And if they pull these out of the woodwork, that will be sufficient enough for people to, be happy with the price hike. But, I know we're not talking about that right now, but the price hike happens every year. They need something to entice fans. And if people are asking for stuff to come back and they
Yeah.
need to see certain things, they should, probably do it.
And to kind of add on though what Tommy's saying, one of the things I could see with the Main Street Electrical Parade, they could have a Disneyland 70th kind of theme to that parade, because that's the only entertainment that I know that has not shown itself for the Disneyland 70th celebration. So we could see that early next year. So that's a possibility.
Maybe. Let's see. Before we move on, because we still have a few more topics to talk about tonight, um, Leo brings up a good point. So, is it strange to you all that usually the Christmas season has started like the first Friday of November, but this year it's going to start on November 14th, the second Friday? Is that normal? So, Leo, in answer to your question, it always happens the second Friday of November, because the first Friday of the month, they are still, Disneyland is still taking down Halloween. And over at DCA, the Plaza de la Familia celebrations are still going on to celebrate the Dia de los Muertos celebrations. So, yeah, it's always the second Friday of the month. At least in recent times. So,
Definitely.
all right. So, continuing on. So, as Conductor mentioned earlier this stream, a new permit has been filed to install a construction fence at the site of the upcoming parking structure and transportation hub on the east side of the resort. The fence will mark some of the first visible signs of work on the arrival updates announced earlier this year. And this is a post from Scott Gustin, and this is the permit. It reads Project Description Disneyland Resort East Esplanade Site Work. Install 15-inch foot by 8-foot high chain link fence and 8 feet by 8 feet high wood fence. And that he is speculating we might be seeing work on this area. So, what
Yeah.
do you guys think?
So this is personally what I think. And again, why they're doing this project, which is going to be a multi-year project, hopefully not longer than that. But I could tell you right now, there's a decent amount of people that come from the harbor side that's staying at these neighboring hotels literally across the street to walk into the eastern side, where this construction is going to take place, walking in to where the transportation hub is. And there's a decent amount of people that walk in that area to go to that security checkpoint, and to have these construction walls go up, how far they're going to go out, like you showed, about 15 feet from where the current wall is. I could tell you it's going to be pretty much a logistical nightmare to go through that security entrance with those walls there. So if I were Disney and if I were, the engineers and Imagineers going to be working on this project, this is what I would say. Building the bridge as we could see it going over Harbor Boulevard to this future Eastern Gateway parking structure, which is going to be humongous. I would say probably where the Disneyland Resort marquee sign is, which again, shout out to Disney for keeping it old school. I love that. I would say work on this side, building the bridge, building the marquee, building the entrance here, the new entrance, this kind of circular staircase that leads to the sky bridge. I would say work on this area first and then kind of go towards um, going over Harbor Boulevard, going over to that new parking structure, because then at that point, it will reopen, at least it'll reopen that area for people to start using the new security entrance on that eastern side as they're still building the bridge across Harbor Boulevard and building into the future parking garage. I think that would be smart. So that way it declutters it declares the area. So if they start from where people are getting led into the Esplanade, which we could see here, if they started from that end and work towards Harbor Boulevard, that would be the smart way to do it.
Yeah, I like your thoughts on that, Conductor. I like if you start where they're putting the fence kind of with in the Esplanade and going putting the bridge over Harbor Boulevard. I do like that marquee sign. I know the nostalgic is there. You know, the nostalgia for sure. That is sick. I just, just hearing about all these construction walls and everything just worries me because, I don't want to be looking at all this for how long. It's just tough. I am happy though, and you get excited when you do see them go up because you know what's coming in the future. You try to visualize it and they try to give us this image, but there'll be nothing like when you see it. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of other permits that arise that will all break down and just keep revisiting this image and stuff. I just, I can't wait. I'm hoping it's sooner than later for a lot of this, but I know it's multi-year. But Conductor, you always have a good outlook on this. So yeah, I definitely like what you mean, starting and then working out over to over the Harbor Boulevard area. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think also too that um, basically, like, if you were to start on a project like this, again, start with the security, and then work your way towards, outward. So, because excuse me, um, what was I going to say is, with all these construction projects, it's basically like saying like Walt Disneyland.
Pretty much, and you're not wrong about that, Amusement Park Pirates, because I've said it time and time again on Conductor Sunday live stream, even when I was a guest, and still is a guest on other channels like Orange Cove 55 and Jared from Capture the Magic and several others. I always reference Epcot because Epcot went through a massive multi-year wall city project with multiple projects, but the Imagination Pavilion, and again, it's going to be me and Tommy's first time going to Walt Disney World and experiencing all these different parks out there with Epcot included. But the reason I say Epcot, just to kind of reference what we're looking at concept art here is the fact that for several years Epcot had massive, and I mean a massive amount of construction walls everywhere. And like Tommy referenced, we're probably going to see that here. And the thing is, like I was stating earlier, if you start from the Esplanade and build the bridge towards Harbor Boulevard, yes, you know, if you start there and you work your way over Harbor Boulevard to the parking structure, that's smart. But you do have to remember those walls are probably going to be there for at least I'm going to just spitball here and guess anywhere from 3 to 5 years. The reason why is because once they get that sky bridge mostly built, and let's say the parking structure, because I don't know if they're going to build the parking structure all at once or they're going to build it in phases. Because if you look at Google Maps on where they're going to build this parking structure, where it sits right now is the cast member parking. It's like two separate big areas, but they're next to each other. um my logic of thinking is they're going to build, it can either go two ways. They're going to build the massive parking structure all at once, or they're going to build it in 2 or 3 phases, because it's so massive and they're going to use so much concrete and just everything material wise for it. But the other thing, looking at this concept art next to that sky bridge that lands you in the Esplanade, is the mere fact that right next to it to the left, you're looking at this area left to the marquee sign where the Avatar experience is going to go. So they're going to put more construction walls in this area. So that's why I'm saying we could see construction walls in that general location for the next 5 years. But again, it also depends on how fast Disney moves with construction, and as long as they don't have to file more permits, and if there's, because with any massive project, and this goes for Universal and other theme parks in general, there's always going to be delays. Even though us as guests don't want delays because it just prolongs it, there's always going to be delays to it. So again, it's kind of like a catch 22. You have to kind of anticipate there's going to be delays. There's going to be extra permits they have to file. There's going to be issues here and there, but my personal opinion, that general area right where the marquee sign is, where the sky bridge is, where the new entrance is, where the Pandora experience is going to be, the backside of it, we're going to see construction walls at least for the next 5 years.
Yeah. Absolutely. Leo Garcia says, what about new roadways to get to the new parking structure? That's a good, interesting concept.
It is. It
go?
is an interesting concept because there is an entrance, but for cast members to get in that area where they're going to build this massive parking structure for guests for what's going to be part of Disneyland Forward, and all the new theme lands and attractions they're going to build on property, to accommodate guests. But I have to tell you, between that's a great question by Leo, by the way. But that's a great question I want to know, and then how they're going to incorporate the new Skyway that Anaheim and Disney is going to be part of. That's going to go from OC Vibe, which is right next to the Honda Center, and it has someone had a picture online. I don't know if you can find it at Amusement Park Pirates, but there was a picture of a map going from where the Skyliner is going to start next to the Honda Center and where OC Vibe is, and then it kind of making multiple stops and then finally landing at Disneyland or close to Disneyland, and then going back to OC Vibes where the Honda Center is. That's going to be another thing where Disney and the city of Anaheim is going to have to figure that out. So to answer Leo's question, I don't know if they are going to incorporate roadways or make massive improvements. I do know for a fact because a fellow content creator, David from Fresh Baked, has been reporting that on Harbor Boulevard, kind of past this area where the transportation hub is at, but more up the street. Okay, perfect.
I think this
You
is the
pulled it up.
photo.
Yeah, that's the photo. But up the street, they said they're going to have a lot of delays and closures and lanes blocked off here and there until late 2026. And this could be part of this project that Amusement Park Pirates kindly brought up about the Skyliner being put in.
Yeah.
Tommy, what do you think about that picture about a Skyliner? You think do you think it's a good idea for transportation, or what do you think about that?
Yeah, actually, this is the first time of me hearing about it. I did not even know about this yet. I mean, I'm pretty sure maybe Dave from Fresh Baked was reporting on it, but yeah, it's kind of new to me. I'm cool with it. Like you said, it's from the Anaheim Convention Center to Disney.
So from what we can see, this green area to the right of the screen, that's where the Honda Center and that's where OC Vibe is at. So that's where it's going to start, or that's the one end, and then the other end's by Disneyland. But then you got these multiple stops, and then obviously you can see down below, you got Angel Stadium right down below here, and then yeah, so Angel Stadium right here because there's going to be another stop right here, another hub where you can get on, and it's going to make multiple stops going down even over the freeway or under the freeway. I can imagine under the freeway. And then it's going to stop at Garden Walk. And then there's going to be two stops, the Anaheim Convention Center, and then you got Disney up here. And then once it hits either one of these spots, it's going to go back and then head towards the Honda Center and OC Vibe.
That's pretty dope, man. I'm not sure. Yeah, like I said, it's the first time I'm hearing about it. I'm excited to see. Hopefully, it doesn't take too long. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I was not aware about this. This is something else. I'm not sure if it's free or you got to pay, but I'm sure it'll take a while for them to build.
It's going to take a little bit to build. I know they were anticipating trying to get this done before the Olympics, but I could tell you with almost a little over two and a quarter years before that international crowd comes in to Southern California for 2 weeks to enjoy the Olympics, I could tell you it's a great possibility they won't have it done in time. Hopefully, I'm wrong on that, but I think what they're going to try to incorporate is kind of like what they have with public transportation with the OC buses. They're probably going to have some type of OC Skyliner a pass you can buy for the year or a monthly pass. But the other question also becomes, how many people are going to feel comfortable riding this thing? Because
Right.
a lot of people don't like heights, and that could be a contributing factor. Even just from the picture that Amusement Park Pirates showed just a second ago with what the ride vehicles, what the concept art is, and George says it best: never ever get married to concept art because it's not the final product. It's just a rendering of what it could be. But looking at that concept art, if the ride vehicle is that small, not only people don't like heights, but people also do not like claustrophobia. And then we're also talking about how it can accommodate people that are handicapped in a wheelchair or electric scooter getting into these things. Since it's supposed to be kind of like almost like an omni mover type transportation vehicle where it's always on the move. So it's going to be very interesting how they accommodate all that.
Yeah. Leo brings up a kind of a funny point. I would hate to be up there if there is an earthquake hits. LOL.
Yeah, unfortunately, from what I've heard, we're due for the big one, and I'm really hoping that's not the case. But we're due for a big one, and I'm talking like an 8 or bigger. So I really hope that's not the case. I hope we keep getting these micro, mini earthquakes and not a big one. That would not be good.
All right. So we also have Main Street Paul. Good to see you. Welcome in. Yes, we are talking about the recent theme park news. Um, so up next, what we have to talk about is this right here. A mystery show is happening inside Disneyland Park. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Well, yes, the Hyperion could potentially be used, but what I think it might be the Fantasyland Theater that might be used. And so this is another post from Scott Gustin. He says that the Disneyland Resort posted a casting notice for a new show in Disneyland Park. Disney is seeking for improv actors, vocalists, dancers, and musicians. Um, so, what could possibly be your guesses for what could possibly?
Do you think it's Christmas related?
I don't know.
When they say's the release, or does it say anything about when?
No, they didn't. They don't see. No, according to this, they basically just say like the descriptions for the roles. So
Okay.
like it requires like a saxophone player, trombone, drums, trumpet, guitar, um, as well as male and female roles. It doesn't really say
A
like when
location.
exactly. This is just a audition call.
Interesting. Tommy, what do you think? Because I have an opinion on it.
I don't know, man. I think it's possibly Christmas related.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking. What do you got?
So I think it could be a Christmas related show or just a brand new show in general. I think basically in a way the Fantasyland Theater is basically like a revolving door at this point. They keep changing shows quite frequently because they just don't know what to put in there and keep in there. I honestly do not think that they're going to use the Hyperion Theater at DCA because literally that's right in the middle of where all the mass construction is going to be happening. And plus, I don't even think the Hyperion Theater is going to be there much longer. I think at some point they are going to announce its closure and they're going to just level it to the ground. And at that point, the question becomes, are they going to use it for Avatar or are they going to use it for Avengers Campus and add another attraction to the campus? Who knows? But I just don't think that building's going to stay there much longer because, quite frankly, it hasn't had a show in there for over just about a year. and they only really use it, quite frankly, only for private events, which is not beneficial to the everyday theme park guest. So it would be more beneficial to just to tear it down and either expand Avatar in that footprint or expand Avengers Campus. But with the Fantasyland Theater, the reason why I say it's a revolving door is because they change shows so often. And then there's times where they just completely wall it off and they don't do anything with it. And a lot of guests, a lot of times, like to just sit on the bench seating there and maybe have like a quiet lunch away from the crowds and whatnot. But there are times they just fence it off with construction fences and do nothing with it. So uh, that's a question I have also. Does Disney keep, adding temporary shows in that location, or could we see the Fantasyland Theater possibly go away and they build some type of Beauty and the Beast attraction or a Tangled attraction in that footprint?
Yeah, I see your point. Since we've lost the a show at the Hyperion, rest in peace, Rogers the Musical. Um, it's been useless. It's only been used for Magic Key giveaways, and Ernesto was there for Oogie Boogie Bash. Um, but the Hyperion Theater is like the inside part of it is it's just useless. It's trash. Not and it's basically like a historical building, it looks like.
Yeah. And that right there is what absolutely concerns me. It's to the point now. It's like, okay, well, are 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 they going to use it for guest purposes once again and put a show back in there, or what in God's name are they waiting for? Because if they're not going to do anything with that building, it does not need to be there. It needs to be somewhere where, or it needs to be demolished and it needs to be used as an expansion slot again, either for Avengers Campus or for Avatar, which again, Marvel and Avatar are two major IPs for the Walt Disney Company. So if that building has no purpose for guests, it has no reason at this point to stick around.
Yeah. What do you think, Tommy?
I mean, I think that was well said. I mean, the Hyperion kind of just sits there, like you guys mentioned, and kind of just looks like one of the other fake buildings in the Hollywood area. But I'm still going with maybe it's a Christmas thing. If we're still talking about what is coming, and then again, too, it could just be, something. What do we have? What Zootopia 2 is coming out? I don't know if this could be related to Zootopia 2. I doubt it. That would be fun. I mean, they try to drop stuff, small little things with movies now. But I know, they announced the new outfits for some of the Zootopia characters in other places. But yeah, Hyperion, man, it falls short. Doesn't seem many people rock with it much anymore. And Disney doesn't even rock with it much. I mean, they took away, like you said, the Rogers show, and this is just in one of those weird locations where it's just construction city everywhere. So we'll probably have to deal with it soon, and I'm sure everybody's going to be happy when there's a final decision made what to do there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So I think we pretty much talked about all things Disney. Let's go into the non-Disney. Starting off with Main Street Paul's comment. The theme park news that I have is Knott's Scary Farm won't let you film, live stream, or take photos in mazes.
So I can kind of talk about that for a quick second. When I was there opening night, not weekend, but just night, um, they were allowing filming, they were allowing pictures, um, no issues whatsoever. And I have to say, the lineup this year was absolutely incredible. I cannot wait for Tommy Toon World to come out in a few weeks to experience it. He's going to have a blast, especially the zoo with the
Yes.
lights on and then the lights off experience. You're going to have a blast in that. I can promise you that. But to answer that comment, um, the day after, so the second night of the event, I don't know why Knott's decided to change their tune. Um, Usually, when they do something drastic like that, usually it had something to do with a guest causing a massive problem, and they just decide, you know what, no more filming, no more this, no more that. So I don't know if they have reverted back to allowing people to film. But I know the second night people were reporting. I think SoCal Tall Guy was one of them. Um, Five Fires Danny, just as Danny. There were multiple others. I think even SoCal Pals reported on it as well, stating that there were some houses they were allowed to film in, and then other houses they weren't allowed to film in. The communication was very confusing, but between the park staff and security, they were, guests were asking multiple people at all these different type of houses, and people were getting multiple different type of answers. And kind of just to go off script for a quick second, me and Tommy actually dealt with this opening night of Horrors Unleashed in Las Vegas. Again, what happened was the executives that were there, and then you had security, they weren't communicating with each other very well. So they came out and told, there must have been close to about 60 to 70 of us in line, and we were basically going to be the first guest in. Basically no filming, no tripods, no lights, no photos, no that. And people, most of the people, including me and Tommy, we took an Uber from our hotel to get there. So we didn't drive over there. We took an Uber. And then I think the worst part of that experience is the on-site lockers that they were supposed to have ready, just in case you had to put stuff like that away, they weren't even available. So I just wanted to reference that real quick. So hopefully, I haven't talked to anybody recently about it, but hopefully they lifted that restriction at Not Scary Farm for filming. But I do know, unless you do have a media pass, and they do allow you to film in there, if you aren't media, you cannot have a light on whatsoever. Now, if you're media, I think you can, but if you're not media, they will yell at you to turn the light off. So, again, I don't know if someone abused that privilege and sat there and had a light on and did something they weren't supposed to, and it was a lot worse than it was. I'm just not sure. But Tommy, what do you think about it? The whole filming aspect of it.
Man, so I have a lot of thoughts actually. Um, I'm actually trying to fire off a text because I know a couple of people there right now, so I'm just trying to see. So maybe they'll text me back, maybe not. But so I got a couple thoughts. So first of all, first thing I was thinking was maybe somebody did something and Knott's got upset, or maybe the streamers are holding up the line, or maybe just in general, it's just too much. Because, the Knott's crowd is different than the Universal crowd, which is different than the Disney crowd. So everybody, every theme park has its own crowds, just like Six Flags. Now, it's basically like Six Flags. Six Flags last year said, "Oh, you can't film in the houses," and then you get there for Fright Fest, and they have the sign up, but then they're like, "Oh no, you can film, just no flash," and you're like, "Well, that was a gray area." For Knott's, you always could film in there, from what my understanding was. So to be able to retract that, I don't know if that's a new executive decision or something occurred. Like, I didn't hear about any fights or anybody like dropping their stuff or holding up the lines. I really didn't hear much about it. So I don't know why they decided to do this. I think Conductor, I think you lucked out being able to record if this is true. If they stick with this through the whole haunt season, best believe they'll bring it back next year and you can't record, only on media night. So that's the only thing concerning. The one or two good things about it is you're more immersed. You're not recording, right? So you're getting more bang for your buck in that way because you're more immersed. And then okay, actually my buddy just texted me. He's there at Scary Farm right now. He said, "No, you can't still." They didn't let him. So you cannot record in these places. And it's almost a shame, too, because you know how they get rid of two? They have 10 houses and they get rid of 2 a year and they kind of switch them out. And they'll tell you, "Oh, hey, this is the last year for these 2." And I'm sure the viewers know this. But now the nostalgia is just going to be gone because I can't record in my favorite house that they're getting rid of, God forbid they ever get rid of Cinema Slasher. I'll freak out, man. I'll probably have to record in there and just to get the footage, But you don't want to disregard the theme parks rules and stuff, even if they're loose, because even in content creating, you don't want to be the one to post the video anyways, and then they may be upset that you're showing it. And a lot of the times the haunted houses are the bang for your buck. They are the coup de grace for these events. And maybe people are they're getting watered down with these point of views. I even do point of views, so I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. And I'm not trying to stretch this out, sorry, but you got me talking. So it's like, some are bad quality videos, some they flood the social media too during the events, and first weekend is always great because it's the content creating videos, but then eventually everybody starts putting out their other videos and it kind of looks bad or oversaturates, or you get tired of it. To be honest, HHN, I'm seeing a lot of Art the Clown still and Terrifier, and I hate to say it, I don't want it to say it's burning out, but Halloween's not even here yet. And, everybody just posts their Art the Clown videos, and they've been doing it for a month. So I kind of see where these places get, but you really deter goers and guests and 100% streamers and content creators from coming to your event because you don't want to let them record, and I'm spending money to come in. So I want to do what I want to do when I can do it. I did hear you could still record in the park, though. So they'll still let me in to knock out the food reviews. So I'm cool with that. Yeah.
So what we heard was we also streamed opening night of Not Scary Farm. And we were honestly 100% fine. We filmed pretty much all the mazes, some of them even twice or 3 times, and we had no problem. But then some of our other friends pointed out on the second night, saying, hey, you can't. I think this was during our stream, our past Disneyland stream, that second week, saying that you cannot film the mazes, but only the scare zones and the shows, and pretty much the
Interesting.
rest of the entire park. So I hope that this does not continue, uh, meaning in regards to next year's haunt. Um, but it just means that creators are doing like over the top now, and um, it ruins the event for. It's basically a bang for your buck, basically. Like, you know, these creators, streamers, post these things to their communities, and other people see them, and they want to go, and now after they see them they feel, I don't know if I should go,
Yeah.
that kind of feel. um, and so that means that price, or the less people is going to come, and it's going to be, you know you
I,
guys get that point.
it's kind of like a hard it's a hard situation to swallow in a way, because us content creators, you know, I it's kind of it's interesting, but it, it, it it's controversial, because there are some content creators out there that kind of don't do the content creator world justice in a way, and they kind of hurt our cause for filming in the parks and then filming at events like HHN and Not Scary Farm. And because that one individual causes an issue, I could tell you it ruins it for everybody else, and that's a very unfortunate thing. And what's going to wind up happening is, if the parks feel like there's constant complaints about content creators filming, they might switch to what Universal Orlando does and
Yeah.
only allow content creators with media passes to film, and then basically everyone else is like, no, you can't film, you can't do this, you can't do that. And that only hurts our cause. Because the way I see it is, even the professional YouTubers, or YouTubers slash influencers that get the media passes, you kind of always know what their agenda is, how they film things, just kind of seeing what their videos do. But a lot of times, having just that small group is great, but then you kind of want to see different content creators that are smaller like us,
Hmm.
film at a different view compared to someone that's more professional at it. So it's just another way of looking at things. And personally, for me, I think that's the best, because when you look at these theme parks, yeah, they have their own media teams, but think about it. If they don't have to use their media teams and pay those people to go out to the parks and film content, and you got all these content creators that are paying money to go into your parks, why would you restrict them to a smaller number when you're basically getting free press, and at the same time you're getting their money that they're paying you, as the business, to enter your park to film? So in a way, they're getting the two for the price of one. You know what I mean? They're getting guests coming into their park, but they're having those guests pay them to enter the park, and they're getting free press out of it. So again, I don't know why they want to restrict. I don't know why one person has to ruin it for everyone else. Why not just restrict that one person? Why screw it up for everybody else? That's all I'm trying to say.
I agree, man. Man, my buddies get me pumped. So it's Chris West. Shout
Yeah.
out Chris West. He's there with Scary Dre right now. He's getting me juiced. Justin, he was saying Knott's is not busy right now. They just did Mary, Mesmer, Cinema Slasher, The Log Ride,
Wow.
and Chambers. I know The Log Ride's my favorite ride, man. There.
Oh,
So
same.
man, they're going in. Yeah, it's sick.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know, I'm pumped, man. He just sent me a picture. He said it's the Temu Conductor.
The Temu Conductor?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, with me and yeah, I posted a picture. It was so funny, and I'll have to do it again if I run into him.
Right.
Because you have the Ghost Town Conductor,
Right.
around Ghost Town, and it was so funny because we ran into him, and I think it was Mr. Scary Gray. He's like, dude, there's the Halloween kind of zombified version of you. Go stand next to him. I want you to take a picture with him, and I did so, and I posted it. It was hilarious. It was
Man,
so
you guys look the same, man. You guys look
We
the
do.
same. Huh? It's like,
we do.
oh, yeah. Man, we'll have to get a reel. If I could get him in a reel with you when I come out there at the end for Halloween, bro, that would be a solid reel for Instagram.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So getting back to this one. So in response to Main Street Paul's comment, for the 70th anniversary, Disneyland did some POVs for Disney Plus. So his question is, does this mean from what we cannot film from Knott's, will that make its way to Disneyland when we go on attractions? Or even Universal for that matter too, in Hollywood too.
So
What do you guys think?
So I can tell you just from my personal opinion is, like, for example, Universal Hollywood is a great example of this. I would say pretty much all their attractions that are indoors, you cannot film, like the Mummy, Transformers. Mario Kart kind of has, you can kind of get away with Mario Kart. But definitely Mummy and Transformers, you cannot. Secret Life of Pets, you can. Jurassic World, you can. But I could tell you with the up-and-coming Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift Coaster, it's going to be a carbon copy of what Velocicoaster is in Orlando at Islands of Adventure, where you're going to walk through a metal detector before you even get on the attraction, and you will be forced to put all your stuff in a locker before you enter the attraction or get on the attraction, the coaster. So Disneyland, I've actually filmed in quite a bit of the rides. I think they're a lot more lenient. But I could personally tell you straight off the bat, just because they allow it, I would probably never do it because I don't want to lose my phone. Is like on a credit coaster, I would probably never bring my phone on that and film anything. And then Radiator Springs Racers is kind of like it's kind of like an in between. I may do it. So I think out of all the parks, to be honest with you, I think Disney is the most lenient on filming.
I agree. It is the most lenient, huh? But I did hear, this could have been retracted, but I did hear you can't film on Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway anymore. I'm not sure if they retracted that back, but
So
I seen that from
to-
Disney Scoop Guy like a month ago.
Just
But
to clarify, just to clarify on the Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway,
Uh-huh.
I have heard from a fellow streamer that you can film and stream Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, but with a strap.
With a
So if
strap.
you have a gimbal with a strap or a phone with a strap, they allow it. Also, it depends on the cast member as well. But if it's not with a strap, they enforce you to put your phone away.
Interesting. Okay.
It is. So Disney really tried to, get over on the content creators with all that 70th POV drops. To be honest, they all say POVs, but some of them are like the ride POVs, which is a real POV to me, and
Yeah.
some are a walking tour of
Yeah.
the land. You know what I mean? They're walking through Galaxy's Edge. Like they're walking through Avengers Campus. And it's like professional 4K. They got it lit up. I'm like, oh man, they're really trying to shut everybody up with this stuff on YouTube. You know what I mean?
They are. And that's maybe the angle they're trying to do. Now, when we go to Walt Disney World and Universal Orlando, me and Tommy with George and OG and George's wife, I don't know what to expect out there. On the context of filming stuff, because one thing that uh, um, separates us from Universal Orlando during HHN is Hollywood does allow filming. Even if you aren't media, you just can't have a light on. Compared to the people with media passes, they can have a light on their phone to get the better content, obviously. But I kind of feel like our content with the newer tech of the iPhones and the Androids, they do pretty well without an extra light in most cases. But in Universal Orlando, they do not allow filming unless you are media. And I think the same thing goes with Walt Disney World on some of their events. So I don't know what to expect on that aspect. So hopefully during just a regular park day on certain attractions or maybe certain areas, they're a lot more lenient on the filming. But again, we're also dealing with Orlando and California. It's so much different. They're a lot more laxed with it. But I can tell you both, with these content creators, with some of them getting out of control and being vile towards other guests or even cast members or team members, I can tell you, if that behavior starts or continues, it's going to ruin it for all of us. And I really hope that's not the road we go down, because it would not be a good thing.
Absolutely. 100% agree on that, Conductor. All right, so I think we can do a little quick Q&A here.
Sure.
So we're going to open it up to the chat for some Q&A. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. These conversations have been very interesting, very riveting. So hope you all are enjoying tonight's stream. So please feel free to drop your comments in the chat here. Love to hear from you. And if there is no Q&A, then we'll head on out. So let's see, just catching up with the chat here. Leo says, I think it's going to be demolished for expansion as well, meaning the Hyperion.
Yeah. And to kind of further that question or that comment, while we're waiting for other new comments to come in for the Q&A, I do have to say, and I have to reiterate, if they don't, Disney, even though they're expanding into the Simba parking lot, the Lilo and Stitch parking lot, and eventually Toy Story rumored to be a third gate, I don't understand why Disney wants to hold on to these massive buildings that don't do the park justice. I just don't see it. Why not expand it for more guests to come in, more experiences, more attractions, and more of that Disney magic we all love? Why keep these buildings where it does nothing for a theme park guest? And that's part of the problem I'm seeing right now with Epic Universe. Um, right when you walk in, from what I was told from Jared from Capture the Magic, because he's a East Coast content creator, is right when you walk in to the Epic Universe and you get in and you walk into Celestial Park, literally right to the left is an expansion slot where they're supposed to be building this almost like convention center type entertainment space. And one of the things that was hinted on early on, and again, there's no structure built on it yet. It's still dirt. But is the fact, again, is it going to be a kind of like a business conference area? Is it going to host live concerts in this area or some type of show? Is it going to be for guests or is it going to be private? Because if it's going to be private, I answered this question on Capture the Magic's live stream a couple months ago. I said, if it's not going to be for guests, first of all, don't build it. Second of all, um, you could put another attraction in there or something that's guest related. But if they want to build something like that, why not look at the Universal Orlando Resort in general? You have Islands of Adventure. You could probably put some type of conference center in. There's the studio park. You could do that in. Why put it in your brand new theme park you just built? Why would you do that? You would think you would build another attraction, because one of the things that is kind of a negative with Epic is it has a lot of outdoor attractions. It doesn't have a lot of indoor attractions. So when the weather goes cattywampus, those outdoor attractions close. So that's a big negative for Epic Universe. So if they do decide to expand, which they are doing, why not build more indoor attractions? That's what I would like to see.
Yeah. Let's see. We got Leo, and he says, "What about Portos in downtown Disney? And if you have any of construction on Harbor Boulevard entrance, and then Portos will be a big mess there at the Esplanade."
Tommy, what do you think? Because I feel like I'm taking over a little bit.
No, it's all good, man. You know me coming towards this is you know more about this than me. I didn't know much about the Portos, but you could answer that question.
Sure.
But man, I'm pumped for that Gordon Ramsay restaurant on top of Earl sandwich. So I'll let you finish this right after, Gordon Ramsay setting up shop. It's a new gastropub. It's like inspired by London's Carnaby Street. I was looking at this, so I had to bring it up. I'm surprised we forgot about it. 1960s style pub, like
That's
for
awesome.
food. So like a gastropub. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be, his famous beef Wellington and then the fish and chips. Those are the top two things. Yeah.
Two
Yeah.
two of
So
the two of the major items I want to try by far is the beef Wellington and his famous fish and chips, which I absolutely love no matter what, and I cannot wait for that.
I'm excited. This is going to be on the top, and it's going to be crazy because there's going to be a lot to do, and I feel like this is going to be super overpriced. I've been to Hell's Kitchen in Vegas, and I actually had the beef Wellington. It's everything you ever wanted. So but it's small and it's expensive. But let me tell you, to do this at Disneyland, like in downtown Disney, I'm always excited. It's just, man, this guy does not fit the profile for Disney. He cusses left and right. How did he get the deal for this? It's just, his food is that good. They don't care if he's cussing left and right.
No, and again, I can confirm with that. We would see something like this at Universal City Walk, not downtown Disney. So I'm super excited. And the second I hear a opening date for his restaurant, I can promise you both I will be down there at the crack of dawn, because damn well Gordon himself will be there, and I would love to take a picture with him.
Right.
Absolutely 100%. So I will book my reservation and cancel my work day for that, just to make sure I'm down there for that. But to answer Lilo's question about the construction about Portos, right now it's kind of like at a standstill. There is no movement on it, and it's kind of disappointing, because when you look at the concept art for what Portos is going to look like, it's a massive, like 2-story, big glass, like very modern type building, kind of like what Splitsville looks like that type of Marn. And this one's going to be very unique compared to the one in Anaheim down the street from Knott's Berry Farm, and even the one in Corona. I could tell you this one's going to be unique because, one, it's at downtown Disney. Two, it's going to have a sit-down restaurant, which the other two do not have. So it's going to have a full-blown menu, the whole 9 yards. So it's going to be very unique. It's going to have a lot of space for people to dine in. Why it keeps getting delayed, I don't know. But one thing I could tell you on that is the ticket booths that are right next to the outdoor seating area for the temporary Earl sandwich that's there. Several of those ticket booths are going to go away. So when we start seeing demo of those ticket booths or construction fences around those things, then we know for sure that Porto's got green lit and it's going to start up again. And then to answer the second part of that question about the Harbor Boulevard entrance, personally for me, once construction fences start going up in that area, if you can avoid as a guest going to Disneyland or DCA that day, if you can avoid going through that area, because we don't know what to expect, how far the construction walls are going to go out. It said 15 feet, but I'm sure there's a possibility it could go out farther. That's just going to be a massive pinch point. So I would just recommend, if you can, come from the west side of the resort, kind of where the ESPN zone building sits in the former, the Star Wars Trading Post area is, and then where the hotels are. If you can come from that side, it would probably be better. But that's what we're looking at.
Nice. Let's see. Buzz Lightyear fan. Someone was saying that they should extend Disney by going over the 5 freeway. Would you guys believe me?
Well, okay. So I talked earlier about the Toy Story parking lot being the third gate. Personally, for me, because I had a feeling at some point they were going to build some type of Skyway attraction that was going to be more of a transportation than an actual ride between the Honda Center and Disney. I kind of knew that years ago that they were thinking about doing something like that. And I always thought, because the Angels, so Angel Stadium, that's been around for decades, there were talks off and on for the last 25 years that they were planning on moving the team to Tustin or just moving them somewhere else in California. Um, Now, if that eventually becomes a thing and that becomes an empty parking lot and they demo the stadium and they move the Angels somewhere else, my question is, does Disney acquire that property and build another resort there? Or will it be subsidized for maybe, condos or homes going in? Because when you look at Google Maps and you look at how big the footprint is of Angel Stadium and the parking lot around that area, it's a massive footprint. It's really a big footprint. So again, I don't know if Disney would try to acquire that. It's a possibility. I'm not going to say no, but I'm not going to say yes. But one thing's for sure, that they probably will make Toy Story into a theme park, whether it's a third gate or another expansion of DCA, which would be kind of weird, seeing how kind of far it is from DCA. But I kind of feel they would do something with Toy Story before they even thought about looking at the Angel Stadium footprint, if the Angels decide to move to a different city.
Yeah. Agreed. Alrighty. So, I think that should be about it for Q&A. So that officially wraps things up here on tonight's podcast live stream. Big thanks to Tommy Toon World and Theme Park Conductor once again for joining. It was a pleasure getting to chat with you guys, and hope you guys can join us again soon. To our other listeners, if you haven't already done so, please smash that like button, as well as subscribe to the channels, which is free to do. Helps us out tremendously. Thank you also to our amazing moderators for keeping the chats clean, engaging, and positive for anyone who enters the chat. Thank you, Ninja Watchers. We know you're watching, as well as all of you for joining us. So, before we get out of here, would you guys mind telling our viewers where they can find you and when you'll be doing more content next?
Tommy, you go first.
Yeah, man, it's always fun talking about theme parks and everything around it. Justin, thanks for having me on Amusement Park Pirates. You've been killing it lately. Keep going. Keep getting your posts rocking. Man, this was a fun talk. I have a lot more Halloween content coming. I'm ready to hit the parks again. I'm going to hit Not Scary Farm, Fright Fest, HHN once again right before the Halloween season ends. So I'll be locking that in. But yeah, check me out on YouTube at Tommy Toon World, Instagram at Tommy Toon _, and TikTok at Tommy Toon _world.
Nice. Theme Park Conductor.
Absolutely. And I want to give a big shout out to Amusement Park Pirates for having me back on his podcast live stream. It's absolutely an incredible time talking theme parks with not only Amusement Park Pirates, which is an amazing host, but my good friend Tommy Toon World, my partner in crime at the theme parks. Absolutely love hanging out with him. And shout out to all the people in the chat, including the wonderful moderators for tonight. But like Amusement Park Pirates said, I'm Theme Park Conductor. You can find me on YouTube and Blue Sky at Theme Park Conductor. You can find me on Instagram at theme underscore park underscore conductor. You can find me on X at Theme Conductor. You can find me on TikTok at Theme Park Conductor 1. And you can find me every Sunday on Conductor Sunday live stream where we talk everything from Universal to Disney to the Halloween season to the up and coming Christmas season. And we have amazing guests like Tommy Toon World, Amusement Park Pirates, Orange Grove 55, George the Disney Italiano from Hollow Gelato, Jared from Capture the Magic, and so many others. It's always a great time doing the live streams every Sunday because it gives people in the chat the opportunity to ask questions. And for us to answer those questions is just an absolute incredible time. And we will be having Tommy Toon World and Orange Grove 55 this Sunday. So definitely tune in for that.
Very nice. And you can find us at Amusement Park Pirates by checking out all our socials right in here. You can scan the QR code for all of our socials. You can check out also our website for all the latest updates, videos, and more. Also, you can find us on and many of our social media or all of our streamer friends on the Disney Streamer Network. So please check that out as well. Moving on to sponsors, we have the Magical Coffee Company, where you get 10% off your first order, where there is magic in every sip. We also have Nick and Shannon, Ear to Their Travel. You can use this QR code to book your next magical vacation. Nick and Shannon, they're always amazing people. So hope you guys can check those out. We also have our merchandise as well to get 10% off your first order. It really supports the channel, as well as also supporting our Patreon by joining the Amusement Park Pirates crew. So hope, as well as you can buy us coffees as well. And then, as I all pretty much mentioned, you can scan here on on my left for the podcast, as well as our main channel. So thank you everybody for joining us. And also forgot to mention, we will be live streaming tomorrow night at Downtown Disney District and the Disneyland Resort Hotel. So it is a stream not to be missed. So have a great rest of your evening, and we will see you in the parks real soon. Good night, everybody.